This is Ivan Kavanagh, director of The Canal and Sun, and you're listening to the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 426, where tonight we will be talking about 1987's Hellraiser. I cannot believe that we have never reviewed a Hellraiser movie before. This is pretty insane. We have. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
well,
we did the
remake,
2022
right?
one.
Yeah, that's right. The one with Jamie Clayton
Right.
as Pinhead. But we've never reviewed a Doug Bradley Pinhead movie.
Never.
Which is insane. So yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to talk about it. I am here, of course, as always, with Steve. Todd is running a little late, but he is going to pop on a little later. I will start by saying this was my pick. This is my birthday pick. It is my birthday week.
It's your birthday day, the day this episode releases.
Wow, is it?
So
Okay.
happy birthday. And for us, it's early, but for listeners, if you're listening to it Friday,
Amazing.
wish Joe and our friend Zach in the Discord, also Slasher Dude. It's also his birthday, born the same day, like same year, same day. Crazy.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
we're both 39 years old this year, which means Hellraiser turns 40 next year. So
yeah.
I assume cons, there'll be a lot of 40-year anniversary celebrations at horror cons next year for Hellraiser, which is great because I would like to add the Cenobites to I have Lament configuration signed by Clive Barker and Doug Bradley currently, so I'd love to add the Cenobites to that as well, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, Steve, how's it going, buddy? How's it? A lot of movie stuff lately, but movie club as well. I think the movies have been selected for that.
Just the first one. So movie club this month. I actually made Joe pick it in a way. So he picked Spookies, which we're actually going to review the week after movie club. So it'll be a chance for me to watch it for the first time during movie club to review it on the pod, and then listeners also see it before we review it. So that should be pretty fun. And just at some point this week, I'm going to put out a vote with the other 80s picks that people can pick from, and that'll be our second film for that night. So looking forward to it. It'll be a great time.
Absolutely. I wanted to pick Spookies for the pick this week for my birthday pick because I just watched it really recently and I was like, man, I need to get like more people's opinions like about this movie, and it has like such an interesting backstory and whatnot, and it's not one I hear anyone ever talk about when they talk about sort of like 80s horror movies. So I'm really excited to talk about that in a few weeks. And if you're even considering going to movie club, I would say this is definitely one you want to attend because it is such a fun movie to watch with a group. As far as any updates, we sat down for the first time. We did a Zoom over the weekend and watched 80% of our movie completed. We watched all three of our shorts that have now been completely edited and finalized. So that is really exciting. And then Todd just finished the wraparound actually as of today. So the movie is pretty much 100% edited and done. We are going to, first draft of it, I should say. A couple of, editing decisions, I think, to finalize it. But, I mean, we're at the finish line, baby. 99.7% done at this point. Very exciting. And Todd, he has arrived. There he is.
Hello.
Look at that handsome gentleman.
What we got? What are we talking about? Final
I was
episode?
just talking about how you finished. Yeah, how pretty much we're finished here.
It's almost done. It's officially done. Let's just call it. It's done. I'm not doing any more work on it. It's done. Neither of you guys. We're done.
I said 99.7% done. So
yep.
it's I mean just the final touches. So we finally did it. We're all
Just give them the runtime.
No, go. You tell them.
We are at a sharp 1 hour 20 minutes, not including the final credits scroll, which is 2 or 3 minutes long. But as far as like production wise goes, 1 hour 20 minutes. That's in the
80
sweet
minutes.
spot, dude.
Perfect. Yep, it is.
We were worried it's gonna be like fucking 2 hours long. Like, what are we doing here? But no, we were fine. So hour 20, man, it's sweet.
Yep, it is. It's a sweet spot. Love it.
Good.
Yep. I'm shocked, honestly. I didn't think we were gonna even get to 80. I thought it was gonna be under, but I think that's perfect. Yeah, we did it. A full-length feature film. I think we're all very proud of it for the budget and everything involved. So and we cannot wait to show it to you guys May 16th once again. the world premiere at Cinema Salem in Salem, Massachusetts. If you'd like to attend, you can. If you can make it out to Salem, we'd love to have you there. Just send us an email and we'll get you, on that list to join. It's limited to 150 seats, so don't wait till the last minute because once the seats are full, we're sorry, we can't let you in due to fire code and whatnot. And they sell beer there, so you can get drunk and watch the movie if you want. It'd be fun. And yeah, I think that's about it. Also, we're gonna have a special guest on today for a review portion of the movie, so stay tuned for that. I'll keep that a secret. And I think that's it. Anything else, gentlemen? Or should we just head into news? All right, let's spill that tea, Steve.
Yeah, let's spill it.
Oh, you want the tea? I'm sorry. We don't serve tea. Nope. Instead, you get a cup of Joe. And now here's Joe with the news.
All righty. Thank you so much, Chuck. And here we go. Your cup of Joe for the week. Let's start off, of course, with the biggest news. The Oscars were this past weekend, and horror was on full display. Sinners broke the record for the most nominations ever for any movie, which is insane. And, there was a lot of eyes, of course, on Weapons, Frankenstein, and The Ugly Stepsister as well. Well, horror, ladies and gentlemen, fared very well, receiving 8 out of the 24 awards on the night that were televised. So big props. That means, 33% of the awards went to a horror movie, which is just absolutely amazing. So I will break it down real quick. Amy Madigan took home the first award of the night, getting Best Supporting Actress for, of course, Aunt Gladys in Weapons, which is just amazing. And then Frankenstein went on to win 3 awards, picking up Best Costume Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and also Best Production Design. Very well deserved on all 3 of those awards. And Sinners took home 4 awards on the night, taking home Best Original Score, Best Original Screenplay for Ryan Coogler, Best Cinematography, which was won for the first time ever by a woman. So congratulations to her for taking home the Cinematography Award. And the biggest, one of the bigger awards of the night, of course, goes to Michael B. Jordan for taking home Best Actor for his double portrayal as playing the twins Smoke and Stack. So, congratulations.
No justice for Lindsay Lohan. She played 2 twins in like 1997.
Freaky Friday, right? Is that right? Freaky Friday?
No, it's Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean,
justice for Lindsay.
Schwarzenegger did in The Sixth Day. Van Damme did it in Double Impact. There's a bunch of people who've
Face Off. Those guys swap bodies for real and didn't get anything. Nick Cage, Johnny Travolta. Good for Michael B. Jordan. I have nothing against the guy. I just don't think his performance was standout, man. It's like, it is what it is. But I'm glad what's her face from Weapons got it because she's fucking the villain of the last couple years for me, at least.
I would have never guessed Amy Madigan would, after when we first watched that movie. I thought her performance was awesome, but Oscar-winning performance, that's amazing. I'm so happy that, it was recognized. Zach Cregger was in the audience, which he got a shout out from her, which is awesome, which means he's going to get a lot more money to make more horror movies, which is great. And yeah, I mean, if you didn't like any of the movies, it's still a win for the horror genre. It's awesome. There'll be a lot more money now thrown at horror because of this historic night for horror movies. So it's awesome, and it will go down in the history books. So it's all very nice. Also, I should mention Amy Madigan and Michael B. Jordan last night joined a very rare company, as they are just 2 of 8 actors total who have won the Oscar for their performances as actors in the past 98 years. So I can quickly run that down too. In 1932 was the first actor to do it in a leading role, which was Frederick March for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And then followed in 1969, Best Actress in a Supporting Role, of course, Ruth Gordon for her portrayal in Rosemary's Baby, which we've talked about in the past.
What was the fun fact? I'm sorry, between
so
Michael
only 8 actors have ever won a Best Actor award for a horror movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And 2 of them were won last night. So only 6
nice.
other times has this happened. in the 98 years of the Oscars. So then also, of course, Kathy Bates took it for Misery in 1991, followed by Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins, both winning for Silence of the Lambs. And then this one I think is questionable, but Natalie Portman for Black Swan, whether you consider that a horror movie or not, they are considering it. And then last night, Amy Madigan and Michael B. Jordan. So there are your 8 actors that have ever won for a horror movie. And we'll see what next year brings, hopefully.
Final episode?
Oh, we've already talked about this.
Sophia Pantaleon?
First ever anthology movie nominated for an Academy. We'll see. It'll be submitted. It'll be submitted. Hey, don't spoil it.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, congratulations to the winners, and we'll see what next year brings for the horror genre. Next, an update on A Quiet Place, as part 3 will finally be coming, and John Krasinski is going to be back for this one, which is very exciting. Do we know if he's going to be back in the directing chair for this one or not?
It was heavily rumored, but it was never actually confirmed.
All right. Well, he took to his Instagram and posted the scripts for it, as well as the date. So July 30th of next year, 2027, we will be getting A Quiet Place Part 3. And he also shared some of the cast, as well as Cillian Murphy will be back, as well as Emily Blunt. And one interesting name that appeared, Jack O'Connell, who, of course, from 28 Years Later, The Bone Temple, and, of course, last night's big winner, Sinners, as well, which Jack O'Connell was very prominent in last night's award show, wearing vampire fangs on the red carpet. And also, there was a great Sinners performance musically last night as well, where they sort of recreated that iconic, evolution of music scene, which they did very well last night as well.
A great Weapons performance as well.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yeah.
Conan O'Brien.
Conan played Aunt Gladys with all the kids chasing him, and he ran through like all the different movies that were nominated, which was very funny as well. But yeah, I'm excited to see Jack O'Connell joining this cast. And so far, I think we've enjoyed all of the Quiet Place movies. So solid franchise so far. So we'll see what it holds going forward. Some sad news for you Buffy fans, is we had reported that a Buffy the Vampire series was coming to Hulu with Sarah Michelle Gellar coming back to reprise her role. Well, in some news absolutely no one expected, Sarah Michelle Gellar took to her social media to announce that it is no more. Hulu has decided not to move forward with the series, which was going to be called Buffy New Sunnydale. No real news as to why they're not going forward with it, but I assume money probably plays a big factor into this, or they just didn't see the vision. So sadly, do you think, I don't know. I was never a Buffy watcher, so to me, this is like whatever, but I mean, I would have been cool, I guess, to see it back. But do you think this is like the death of it, or do you think another network might pick this up?
I don't think there's enough interest, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of competition out there. It's probably very expensive to make, given the names that would have to be involved. And I think studios are basically like, I don't think it's worth the money, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll see. I think there's a chance for it with Sarah Michelle Gellar behind it. I mean, she's a big enough name, and I think some studio might, maybe it'll pop up on net. Maybe Netflix will take some interest in it or something. I'm sure they're going to pitch it, but we'll see. All right, next bit of news here is Mike Flanagan's The Exorcist has finally began filming. We actually just mentioned this the other day, that when the hell is this Exorcist movie going to start filming? Well, it officially started filming. I don't think we've seen a release date on this yet, though, but it's filming. So I would assume sometime next year we will be seeing this Exorcist film come out. So that's great. And then also some Terrifier 4 updated news here, as Damien Leone, of course, has shut down rumors. People, I don't know if you've been on the internet lately, but every other day there's, Terrifier 4 coming out this year, Terrifier 4 coming out this year. And he said, nope, we haven't even started production yet, ladies and gentlemen. So just pump the brakes on that. His official statement was, since there's so much Terrifier 4 speculation and false information on there, I wanted to give an official update. The script is very close to completion, and I'm hoping to begin pre-production this spring. This is the most precious script I've ever written for many reasons, but it's also the most challenging. There's a lot of material to tackle and a lot riding on this one, not just creatively but emotionally. We've built something special together over the years. The cast and crew who have been here since the beginning deserve a finale that honors their dedication, and the fans who have championed this franchise deserve something unforgettable. I will officially announce when the script is complete on my social media pages. So he has confirmed that this is the finale. This is going to be the final Terrifier movie as far as he's involved.
I was going to say, yeah, there's no fucking way. Maybe for him, but I'm sure it's going to keep going. Probably, you're right. I think he's done directing, but he'll probably be executive producing like future installments.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, just like, part 6, Freddy's dead. And then also, was it part 4, The Final Friday? Was it? So, this will be the final Art with Leone directing, but there's no way. Art couldn't be bigger right now. And for them just to be like, nope, no, I mean, but maybe he doesn't sell the rights, right? If he doesn't sell the rights, they can't make movies. So if he's like, no, that's my baby, I'm holding on to it, maybe we won't see Art for a very long time. Let it sit for 10 years. I know he wants to go on to do other stuff, which I can understand. Like, creatively, I'm sure he wants to do things other than Art the Clown. And then if those don't work out for him, they'll go back to that well of Art the Clown. I assume it will always be there. But
so David's 46 years old though. So
yeah, I mean that's true.
He waits 10 years. He's late 50s, and I don't know.
It's a good point, right? Because can you replace David as Art the Clown? It's like another like Freddy scenario where it's like, well, the fans accept it, right? Like, I mean, we had obviously a different Art the Clown in Mike Gianelli originally. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Honestly,
is this another Freddy situation?
I don't think so, because Art the Clown doesn't talk. So that's a big element that we're not like, I mean, David Howard Thorne is obviously amazing, but I think we can find another kind of mute clown and that's in makeup. And it's not like it would be like crazy different, I don't think so. And maybe a new interpretation could be what the franchise would need after 4,
Yeah. Well, we'll keep you guys updated. Probably the most obviously anticipated, horror movie of next year. If it comes out next year, we'll have to see. But I mean, I'm glad they're taking their time with it at the end of the day and not trying to rush it. What do you think happens? Do you have any predictions on where this finale does Art finally get defeated by Sienna? I mean, it seems to be the way they're going, right? Or does Art win? Does Art win in the end?
I'd prefer Art winning.
You want Art to kill
he's probably
Sienna?
The most interesting character.
I think they kill each other. I think it's a double.
Yeah, they both double kill. I like that.
Kill. Mm-hmm.
I'd be okay with that. Is Jonathan dead? We shall see. I think Leone did say he's dead.
Is he?
Die. Yeah.
Killed off screen was kind of rough for him. But
yeah, agreed. It's a tough one.
He'll probably show up as some kind of demon, or
like mimicking him
or something. Yeah.
Probably to lure her in, maybe, and it's Art pretending.
Yeah, I mean this one. The fact that it seems like they're gonna go to hell in this one, or whatever this hellscape is, and battle in hell seems like a really cool idea. So, and they're gonna have the budget for it, which is good. So they should be able to pull that off, I think, pretty well. A couple other quick ones. Evil Dead, of course. Evil Dead Wrath has entered production. Are you guys excited about this? Todd, you being the big Evil Dead guy here.
Yeah, I think I know where Steve was going to go with it. All of them have been good, so
yeah.
Fuck it. Keep churning them. I hope they doesn't they keep doing them year after year, and then the quality starts slipping. That's the only problem I have with it.
I mean, that seems like what they're doing.
Yeah, and Bruce stepped away from producing or something. I think before his cancer announcement too. I think he was just said something like he was too old for the game now or something like that, and just let the young crowd take over or something. But I'm excited for Evil Dead on a different note, because they're all coming to Scarefest, and I'm gonna meet them all again. So
everybody but Bruce, right? That's
I've met him 3 times already. So
yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, everyone else come back, and Scotty I've never seen before at a con, so he'll be.
You gonna wait in that Sam Raimi line? It's gonna be a big one.
Yeah. How much did you charge when you got him?
80, 80, I think.
80, I think. It's either 80 or 100. I can't remember.
I'll have to get in his line ASAP. Just
100%.
fucking
Because
deal with it.
me and Steve went during the VIP hour, and
We
it's
still
a
wait in
lot.
line.
We still waited a while.
Was he? Is
Yeah.
he a talker?
Not really, but he definitely like will shake. He shook every single
Mhm.
person's hand in line. You know, he wears a suit,
His
keeps it
suit.
very, very professional. He's very, yeah, he
Cool.
was cool. Like he definitely chat. He'll definitely chat with you.
Yeah.
He's not like a I won't fucking talk to you. Like just
Won't
keep the
look
line
at you kind
moving
of thing.
type guy. Yeah.
Cool.
There's only one thing he won't sign, and it's the Spider-Man poster with the Twin Towers on it. That's the only
Oh,
thing he like
I get it.
refuses to sign. Yeah.
I get it.
But he'll sign pretty much anything else. And then finally tonight, might as well mention this: Ryan Coogler, his X-Files reboot, has gotten a pilot order from Hulu. So, well, X-Files series will be coming to Hulu unless they decide to put the pin in that one, like they did the Buffy series as well. But I think this one has a more legs. So
Yeah, with
we shall see about
Coogler,
that.
especially
Yeah.
now that he's an
Yeah.
Academy Award winner. Yeah, no,
True. Yeah.
it's happening.
All right. And yeah, that's it for horror news this week. Once again, if you ever want to send in your own horror news, post it in our Discord, and I'll try to keep an eye on it and talk about it. So thank you. All righty, gentlemen. And now it is time for What Watched. I don't have anything this week. I started watching Body Cam, and I fell asleep, so I didn't
That
get to
Justin
finish
Long?
it. No, it's the new one on Shudder. It's like a found footage one about two. I got like a half hour into it, but it's about basically two police officers, and they wearing their body cams, so it kind of like it's obviously found footage style like that. They get a call to like a house, and it seemed kind of culty,
Sounds
demonic.
cool.
Sound interesting. It's only an hour and 15 minutes, which hey, fucking like we talked,
Fucking hey.
sweet spot timing. So
What's the
I
one with
did.
Justin Long I'm thinking of? He's a cop, and it's a horror movie.
Justin Long is a cop.
Yeah. Here, search it while I talk about my first
Okay.
watch here. Yeah, because I unfortunately have to run in 5 minutes. Shit happens, but yeah, I watched. I'll talk about Friday 13th because we just had a Friday 13th again, second of three this year, and I decided to watch the remake because it's been a few years since I watched that, even though we covered it. But I believe I missed that episode a couple years back. But yeah, this is a remake from 2009. Just redoing everything that we already know about Jason. I love this one, man. Like I don't get the hate for it. I understand that Jason's different and he's smart and he sets traps and he has little fucking his tunnel network, which how the fuck did he build his tunnel network? I don't know. Let's not get into it. But yeah, it follows the same formula where some young adults they go to like a cabin on a lake. There's a rich dickhead. There's like a sensitive girlfriend that doesn't really like him, so he bangs some other chick that's the hot blonde, and then you have this one dude looking for his sister who we know was attacked by Jason as the opening sort of kill with her friend group was at the lake and then they get all attacked by Jason, which is an awesome sequence about 10 15 minutes long where you think they're the characters but they get killed really fast. It's really cool. Yeah, so they link up and they're looking for a sister and yada yada yada, and I just like it, man. I think it's pretty brutal. I think Jason's awesome. Derek Mears plays a good one. There's some really effective parts in there from some classic good nudity that you expect from Friday 13th to some really cool Jason moments to some fucking sick ass like hide and go seek kills, especially one where this girl's underneath a pier and he like stabs through her head and lifts her up out of the water and she slides down the fucking knife. It's really fucking cool. I honestly, I have no idea why this didn't have a sequel because I think it did pretty well and it was okay received back in the day. But yeah, if you're a physical collector like I am, you can get the Scream Factory release box set or Arrow did a 4K release about 6 months ago or so that is excellent and full of stuff. So I would definitely get that. So yeah, happy Friday 13th. I gave this one a 4 out of 5. It has issues, sure, but at the end of the day, it's Jason killing people. And what more do you want? So 4 out of 5 over on 4K.
Do you have another one right before you leave?
I do. I have Bleeders from 1997, a film that I've had on my VHS to watch shelf for a while now. And this one stars Rutger Hauer. And basically these like the 1300s or some like old time like that, where all these like a royal family or whatever is inbreeding like fucking crazy. And then it comes out like, hey, you shouldn't inbreed because it leads to all the one is gross too. It leads to all these like blood, deformities and deformities of the babies and shit like that. So these people are like, no, we want to fuck our sisters and our brothers, dude. We're leaving the family. And they go to, I think it's America. I don't know. There's some little small island and this fucking rich little dainty motherfucker with tiny ass little sunglasses that bug me. He's got like a sickness and he thinks like like, this is where I was born. He doesn't know he's an inbred fuck. And he's like, I'm gonna come back to this island. I'm gonna find out like my family and our history and all that shit. Rutger Hauer is a doctor. He's like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's kind of one of those doctors doesn't give a shit. And he gets entangled with this little dainty rich fucker and his wife, and they have sex, dude. And she's pregnant. He doesn't know it. Uh-oh, that might end badly because they got some inbreeding blood in him. But turns out this island has bodies missing from the cemetery, and like they're exhuming bodies because of stupid fucking reason where the cemetery owner is getting sued because she used cheap wood for coffins. So the story to make you know that the bodies are missing, they tell the cemetery worker that you have to exhume all the bodies and rebury them. Like bullshit, that's never gonna happen. So they're pulling up all the coffins and they find a bunch of bodies missing and there's tunnels and it turns out there's these little fucking inbred mutant little pricks running around. And if you look at the cover art for Bleeders, that's like the best part of the movie. And those little creatures come out and kill anybody. Dude, if these freaking creatures like 3 feet tall, just fucking punt them, shoot them, hit them with an axe, something like that. But everyone gets overpowered, and Rutger Hauer is like, now he's the lead man. And then this dude figures out that he's part of the mutant family. And you know what? I am home. That's his little quote. I am home. And he goes into the tunnels with his little mutant friends. And then the funniest fucking thing, and I quoted it on my Letterboxd review, but I don't remember exactly what it was, but this narrator comes on, he walks into the tunnels, right? There's just a bunch of these little fucking dweeb mutants. And then there's this like normal looking girl, and it's his sister. And then the fucking commentary guy, he's like, and then his sister found the love that was her brother. I'm like, oh, that's fucking gross. Like, it's so implying that they're gonna restart the family gene pool by fucking each other in the tunnels, and it's disgusting. It was fucking boring though, man. Like, I love the mutants; they look kind of cool. There was very little gore, very little blood. There's some blood here and there, but overall, like you think mutants killing people and eating bodies would be like gorific, but it wasn't. Rutger Hauer couldn't say it for me. I gave this a 2 out of 5, and I watched this on tape, but I believe it might be on Tubi, but don't quote me on that.
Cool. Well, thank you for stopping by, Todd.
So long. Farewell.
What the hell, Todd?
Off Wiedersehen.
Way to go.
I do. Bye.
Bye.
All right. So my first one this week is 2005's Return of the Living Dead 4 Necropolis. So trying to get a completion on Letterboxd. So Return of the Living Dead Necropolis doesn't really have to do much with the other 3 Return of the Living Deads. Movie starts off where this guy goes to Chernobyl and he wants to pick up a few remaining canisters that has like the zombie gas in it. And of course, shit happens. The Russian guys who bring him there get killed and become zombies. And he does escape with those canisters. And then the movie takes place later where they're in a town and he runs this kind of facility where they're doing tests on the zombies. And meanwhile, you have this group of like teenagers in high school and they're just fucking around, normal teenagers, and they're doing like motocross. And one of them has an accident while he's doing some motocross, so they bring him to the hospital. His best friend goes to the hospital. He's like, "Hey, can I see my buddy?" He's like, "Oh, he's not here." It's like, "What do you mean he's not here? He just got admitted here." So they check, and they're like, "Nope, he never showed up here." So they find out through the grapevine that he actually got sent to another facility where one of the girls from the group works at as a security guard. So they go there instead to try to find their friend, and sure enough, that's the facility with the zombies. And of course, once they break in, they find all of the zombies and they start breaking out, and it becomes kind of a typical zombie film where they start attacking, and then you have security guards that are also involved, and you have the SWAT team that comes in and that kind of stuff, and the nefarious doctor who's kind of explaining why he does the work and all that shit. So I've pretty sure I've either seen this one or Rave to the Grave, and honestly, I don't remember which of the two. This one seemed familiar, so it's probably this one. They're actually filmed back to back with the same characters, and there's one like Rave to the Grave is a sequel to this one. And I gotta say, I expected it to be really bad, but it wasn't that bad. It's the problem with it is that it's a very standard zombie film. It does have like pretty decent gore and good kills. There's a lot of zombies in it. They don't fuck around too much without the zombies. Like there's zombies for the majority of the film. The problem is what makes Return of the Living Dead special to me is the kind of really unique looking zombies. We did it in a review. We reviewed all 3 in the last year. And the highlight of all of them really is just how unique the zombies are and how cool looking they are. And this one, they're straight up having conversations with the zombies. Like they're actually like talking to them and everything. Whereas in the other ones, they'd say a few words and stuff, but it wasn't like they fucking had a sit down chat with them. You know, it was kind of weird for that. There's a couple zombies that are, I guess you could say, uber zombies, but they weren't that special looking. The writing's really weird. I posted in the Discord. One fucking pervy security guard is looking at the main security guard, who's a really hot girl, and she leaves the room, and he kind of looks down and he says, "Nice pooper," which is such a fucking odd way of saying nice ass. And there's a lot of lines like that. It's just kind of weird, but overall, it's a decent film. It's just not a good film for the Return of the Living Dead series. Like, if it was just called Necropolis, I think it would have been better, you know, without attaching that series to it. I still give it 2 out of 5 stars. It's like a middle zombie film. You know, there's nothing special about it. I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it, but it's not like one of those sequels where it's awful. You know, at least you got some stuff here to see that's pretty cool. So you can check it out on Tubi. That's Return of the Living Dead Necropolis. So the next one that I watch is 2015's The Hoarder, which I watched over on Amazon Prime. I just saw the title, really, The Hoarder. I love watching that Hoarder show on whatever channel it's on, like TLC, just because it makes me feel better about how clean my house is. And I want to see a horror movie based on hoarding. And I also saw that it starred, what's his name? It's Robert Nepper from Prison Break, who plays Teabag, and I always loved that guy and that character, even though he's like a really bad character. He was good on that show, and also Misha Bard stars in it. So this one is the story of a girl who goes to her storage unit, and she needs to get something. I think it's from her boyfriend's storage unit locker, and it's like on a special floor. It's like some weird dingy basement as opposed to like a regular storage unit floor. And she tries to get in it, but she finds like this zombie basically in it, and it starts attacking. And then she goes up to another floor where a bunch of other people are also like at their storage units, and it becomes a survival situation where the facility closes and they're trying to figure out what the hell this zombie thing is. And then people start disappearing, like people who are from the storage unit. So they start to find them, and something weird is happening with them. I won't spoil it in case you watch it. And it's a pretty, like, I don't know, dull story overall. There's not a whole lot that happens. It's a completely, like, unrealistic storage unit. Like, there's no fucking way. Like, there's so many people in there. People are living in there, and there's like people that like some floors look like total shit and some floors like normal. I don't know. There's no rhyme or reason with this fucking thing. Characters come and go. You have no idea who they are. It wasn't good, unfortunately. I gave it 1.5 stars, and you can check it out on both Tubi and Amazon Prime, and it's called The Hoarder. And I'll do just one quick one as well.
Oh,
I won't delve too much into it. Yeah, a bonus one since Todd's not here and you didn't watch it.
Yep.
I watched 2025's Anaconda, the one with Paul Rudd and Jack Black. The story is about a bunch of like filmmakers who used to make films when they were kids, and then they like their lives kind of got in the way. So Paul Rudd, he's a failed actor and he's having a rough time. So he buys the rights to Anaconda, and he goes back to Jack Black and is like, let's fucking make another a remake of Anaconda. And the movie is them going into the jungle and filming like a remake to Anaconda. And of course, they hire a snake wrangler who has a big snake, and then, you know, the snake gets loose and shit happens. And then there's another snake that comes involved, and it becomes basically Anaconda within the story of them filming Anaconda. I thought this would be really stupid. That's why I didn't go see it in theaters. I was pleasantly surprised at how good this was. It's very typical Jack Black, Paul Rudd. Like, this is, you know, if you've seen their movies, you know exactly what to expect with this one. I think there's an added element to me because I just went through making a movie, and there's a lot of jokes about them making movies and like weird angles that they need to get and shots, and I really appreciate that aspect of it. And it does like reference a lot of the Anaconda series, which I think is actually an underrated series. Like, people think about the first like maybe two, but there's like 5 or 6 of them, and eventually they merged with Lake Placid as well. And I would say that they're mostly all like really fun. So I would recommend checking out that series, and I would add this one as well. It's a fun but cheesy movie. and the ending like made me laugh out loud. Like it's just so ridiculous, but cool in the same way. So check it out. I think I rented this one if I remember. Yeah, I rented this one. 2025. That's Anaconda. I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5.
Excellent. Yeah. I've been curious about that one, so it's
Yeah,
good to hear.
totally worthwhile. You know, it's not like a amazing film. It wouldn't have made my top 10 or anything, but fun
Yeah.
to watch.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. Well, we're back. Todd left us, sadly. I know. Don't cry too much because we have a very special guest for our main event of the evening. We have Jeff DePaoli here, who you heard him last year on the show. You may know him well, but if you don't, Jeff is the founder and creator of Wicked New England. He also has a podcast, which, what's the name of your podcast, Jeff?
That Halloween podcast.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. They go hand in hand, horror, Halloween. So there's another podcast for you folks to listen to. But Jeff, why don't you give us a little intro about yourself and let us know a little more about what you have in store for Wicked New England this year.
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you both for having me on the show. I appreciate it very much. And Joe, thank you for being a part of Wicked New England. You are a huge help to me. And of course, folks will be able to see you at the event as you moderate some panels and such. But Wicked New England is returning to Salem, Massachusetts for year 2. It's essentially a halfway to Halloween festival. And for me, I now live in the Los Angeles area, but I grew up in Massachusetts and spent my entire childhood into my 20s in Massachusetts. And I always say I've lived in the 2 best places to celebrate the best day of the year, Halloween. But if I really truly had to pick one, my SoCal people will hate me, but I go with New England because when you think of Halloween, just traditional Halloween, and the way it's represented in media, it's always a New England Halloween. And having grown up with it, like it was really perfect. It was amazing. And so I just wanted to create something that would celebrate that and kind of give a sneak preview of what's to come that Halloween season. And that's my goal as the festival continues to grow, and it is growing in year 2. My goal continues to celebrate as much of New England Halloween culture as we can. And, the vendor market I have this year, we have vendors from literally every single New England state and beyond, which excites me. We have stage presentations from folks from all over New England and characters, monsters, kids trick-or-treating. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's all inside Old Town Hall and outside in Derby Square in Salem. Kind of a perfect setting.
Excellent. I mean, super exciting. Last year was so much fun. For people who may have went last year, is there going to be any sort of special changes for this year? Or is anything different this year to look forward to?
Yeah, so we are expanding a little bit outside into Derby Square,
Mhm.
and that's the area immediately outside of Old Town Hall. Now, to get inside Old Town Hall, you do need a ticket. Tickets are inexpensive. They're $11 if you go to wickednewengland.info. And but the outside stuff in Derby Square, anybody walking by can come grab some food, get a caricature, whatever is out there for you. So come and enjoy the monsters if you're in the area. And in addition, we have a VIP ticket this year, which includes a gift bag and an event souvenir. And if you remember a presentation last year by Wicked Ghost Hunters, which the people in attendance loved, they are a hoot. They're so much fun. They're actually going to start giving ghost hunting expeditions in Salem, and that's going to be launching this spring. So if you get a VIP ticket, you'll actually get to take part in one of those on a date of your choosing on a future date. So that's a lot of fun. And of course, new and different panels. We have Bora, who was there last year, is taking a much bigger part in it this year. She'll be there the whole event, taking photos, meeting guests, introducing panels, and even doing a mass wedding vow renewal. So anybody in attendance can renew their wedding vows with Bora, the Salem witch. So that's exciting. We have Hocus Pocus Live, a parody musical, will be there, and they'll be there all day taking photos and doing a panel. So yeah, lots of new stuff and just getting bigger, which is great.
That's awesome. Very cool. So Literally, like, this is probably the best time to visit Salem too, in April, to celebrate, rather than going in Halloween where you have to fight the traffic and deal with the insanity of Salem that is October. Why not come in April and celebrate halfway to Halloween instead, where it'll be a lot more easier to navigate and you can still have a super fun time. So, April 19th, ladies and gentlemen, do not miss it. Old Town Hall, where Hocus Pocus was filmed. So you get that. That is a bonus as well in Salem, Massachusetts. Do not miss it, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an amazing event. Last year was awesome. I know this year is going to be even better. And years beyond, right, Jeff? I mean, I'm sure you got a lot of big things planned for the future.
Believe it or not, I'm already thinking about 2027. So
I believe it.
Yeah. And everything, any info people need, wickednewengland.info, INFO.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeff. And Jeff is going to be staying on for our main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen, 1987's Hellraiser, directed by Clive Barker and starring Andrew Robinson, Claire Higgins, Ashley Lawrence, and Doug Bradley as lead Cenobite. That's right, he wasn't called Pinhead in this movie, ladies and gentlemen. Not until later was the Pinhead name established. Plot: a woman discovers the newly resurrected, partially formed body of her brother-in-law and lover. She starts killing for him to revitalize his body and escape the demonic beings that are pursuing him after he escaped their underworld. Pretty much wraps it up, I think. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I also found out Jeff has never seen this movie before either, which kind of shocked me. This is, a horror classic, so I can't wait to hear his thoughts on this in a bit. But Steve, we're without Todd, who is the best plot synopsizer in the world, as we know. But can you break down Hellraiser a little bit more for us this week?
Yeah, Todd, like, this was unexpected, so I didn't even get to prepare for this or anything. I think he sets us up on purpose to do this. But the basic story is you have Frank. He's really into kind of the occult, and he buys a box to lament configuration, and he brings it home. He opens it, and he goes to hell. And then later on, his brother goes to the house. It's an absolute dump, but he's like, "Hey, I'm going to move in like tomorrow because apparently that's fine for him." So he moves in with his new wife and his daughter, I think, or his daughter doesn't really want to live there, but she's there anyway. So they go into this house, and it's kind of odd. Frank left some stuff, including maybe some sex pictures with the new wife, and it's starting like this whole thing. And all of a sudden, the dad, he gets bonked on the head, or on the arm as he's moving was a mattress, and he goes into this room where Frank had been doing some stuff, and the blood goes into the floor, and it revives Frank into kind of a very poorly formed human being. It's basically just bones and sludge at the beginning. And then the girl goes in, and he's like, "Hey, it's me, it's Frank, and you need to help me. You need to find people to bring some blood and reform me so we could be together for the rest of our lives." And that's basically where the story is. It's her, she goes and finds men, and she kills them. And when the blood seeps into the floor and goes into Frank, he eats people as well. It starts to reform him slowly. And meanwhile, the daughter is getting suspicious about her because she's seeing these men come in, and she gets involved to the story as well. And you also have a side plot where the Cenobites, who are like angels or demons to some of hell, they want Frank back, and they're kind of pissed off about it. And that's the daughter also opens the lament configuration, so she gets sucked into that as well and makes a deal with the Cenobites to get him back. So that's basically this. That was terrible, but no Todd, you get what you get.
No Todd, but yeah, I did put you on the spot, Steve. You had no preparation for that, but I think you did just fine. So let's start off with our guest tonight, Jeff. I'm very interested to hear your thoughts about Hellraiser.
Yeah, so one of the things I find fascinating is, so you mentioned I've never seen this before. And to be fair, my horror fandom really kind of lies in more realistic things. Like, I mean, Scream is my ultimate. I like it because they're real people committing these heinous crimes. And paranormal stuff I love because I believe in paranormal. So monster movies, not my forte, not my favorite, and therefore this one I had never seen. So thank you for introducing it to me. What I will say is it's interesting that, I mean, this is an iconic horror movie, a horror monster, but it's weird. It's not quite there with like Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and all that stuff. And where my head immediately went, I live in the world of like haunt attractions and stuff like that. I don't think this film or this franchise has ever had any representation at Halloween Horror Nights on either coast. And to me, that says something. Like there's definitely a fan base, right? There's definitely a huge fan base, but it doesn't seem to have really gone past a certain point. I don't know. Am I crazy here? You guys might know better than me, like how big this franchise is, but like that's weird that Halloween Horror Nights, who's done everything and is frankly looking outside of even like traditional horror because they've used everything. They've never done Hellraiser.
It is surprising. I think it's more. I mean, and Clive Barker is obviously a very accomplished author and director himself, but I think the concern maybe it might be too extreme, to some. Also, to there's sadomasochism, like and whatnot in here. I mean, it's a good point because Pinhead I think, is a legendary character. I think you show somebody a picture of him, most people probably know who he is, but perhaps it's a little too much gore. But I mean, they just do Terrifier. I mean, so
they've done Terrifier. They've done Texas Chainsaw. I don't think it's a Saw.
So
I don't think it's a gore. I think it's a rights issue more than.
I think it's rights.
Yeah, I think it's a rights issue.
Well, who makes it? Who makes it? Because I mean, they've worked with every studio, every production company there is. I feel like I don't know. It's weird to me, and honestly,
it is weird.
Like now that that's in my brain, when I start doing like talking to the folks who create Horror Nights in Hollywood, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna be like, "Yo, why has Hellraiser never been done?" Because, like, literally, I think everyone can agree, like, Halloween Horror Nights has gotten to a point of they've run out of new material, so they've started taking like video games and things that are like very loosely fit into the theme. So in any case, you'd think Hellraiser was no brainer. That's where my head first went. Secondly, my head went, is this is Little Shop of Horrors, right? Like there's this thing that needs to eat humans, and then they convince a human to bring back people to kill, to feed to it. So it's like, oh, it's a Little Shop of Horrors, which I'm a big fan of. Are you asking me if I liked this or not? Is that what you're wondering?
I mean, yeah, sure. Like, did you like it?
Not really.
No,
but it's
okay.
But that's okay. Like it was. Honestly, I'm glad to like know it now because it is iconic enough that I should have known it. But I didn't love it. What I appreciated about it, I would say, it was like the practical makeup effects and stuff like that. Really good. 1987. That's the world we lived in. But God, it looked really, really good. And that's the stuff I appreciated. The story's a little wackadoo, and like I still don't really understand, and I'm sure they go into this with all the sequels and stuff, but like I don't get who these characters are, where they come from. Like these monsters are a little just like, here they are, accept them. They all look very different. No idea how they were created or any of that stuff. I don't know if I missed something, but
you didn't. Okay. No, it's a good point. It isn't mentioned really in this. They sort of just show up. When you watch the sequels, it definitely goes more into the depth and details of sort of where they're coming from. Yeah, I think it was Doug Bradley that described it as essentially the Cenobites are sort of the prison guards of hell, is how he described it. And the lament configuration is basically the portal that takes you to hell. But yeah, I mean, it's not really just. It's sort of not really talked about in this one, and they sort of just are there. Steve, you want to break it? What did you think of this one? And then I'll give my thoughts.
So yes, I've seen it multiple times. I will say that I was kind of middle on this one for a long time, but I've changed my opinion a little bit on it this time around. I agree that the story, like broken down, is pretty simple, and they don't do a great job of introducing the Cenobites. They kind of just, like you said, showed up, and there's a lot of lore that seems to be missing. Now, I know that they do go into that pretty deeply in future films, but if you're just watching Hellraiser, the first one, there's a lot like that you're like, I don't understand what's going on really.
If I may interrupt for a quick second, but that's very on brand for 1980s horror, don't you think? Like,
Yeah.
we don't know where a lot of these classic monsters come from or their backstories, and it's not till sequels and or remakes decades later that really dive into that. So I'm not even faulting the movie. I just think that was the style in the 80s. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I completely agree. But in this case, because they're kind of like taking a back seat in a weird way, like Frank's really the slasher monster in this movie. The Cenobites are kind of just there, moving things along and bringing another dimension, like literally to it. I feel that they could have used a little bit more exposure, maybe more dialogue to explain a little bit what their deal was, because it is a little vague. However, I will say what I do love about this movie is the practical effects, like you said. They're incredible, and even a scene where there's that giant, like, I don't know how to describe him, kind of a spiderish cockroach thing. You could very, very clearly see the machine pushing him down the hallway. You could even see like make out like a body pushing the physical person, but it doesn't bother me because they did it practically and it looks really cool, and I appreciate it for that. And Frank is awesome. It's almost like a Fly situation where it's in reverse. His different like stages look so cool, and they're all like a little different from each other, which makes it interesting. You almost look forward to seeing what Frank is going to look like the next time you see him on screen. So every time she brings in one of the like British pervs that are lusting after her at the bar, you're like, okay, let's see what Frank is going to look like this time. And for some reason wears clothes, even though he's like totally not ready for it, which is I always found odd. But yeah, there's just a lot that I love about it visually. It's a little messy on the story side.
Yeah, this one, it's considered obviously like a horror classic to many. It's one I haven't watched in probably a while, and it's a bit surprising because it is so different than most of the sequels. It's one that really it almost feels like not like a Hellraiser movie for a big portion of it. I would say like the first hour, when basically no Cenobites are showing up and you just sort of have Frank there doing his creep thing in the attic. But I mean, I think it's a decent enough story. I think the story is probably the weakest part of this, but the practical effects, like you guys both mentioned, and for good reason, obviously, is really what makes this movie. That introduction to Frank, like where like he like fucking turns into that whatever you want to call it in the beginning, looks so cool. That was actually a reshoot. That they added that in after the fact because this was originally supposed to be a straight to video release, but once the studio saw some of the dailies and some of the footage, they loved it so much that they were like, we're gonna greenlight this to the theaters. So that was put in after, as well as some other additional gore scenes and whatnot. So, I mean, that part is awesome. Obviously, the Cenobites all look amazing. Which people, that's another thing I had read about this movie is that originally there was a lot of trepidation about the Cenobites and how they looked. There was a lot of concern before this movie was released that people were going to laugh at how the Cenobites looked. And for good reason. I'm sure not show on camera when they first appeared sort of on set, they were like, oh shit, what have we done? But they look awesome on camera and with the lighting and whatnot. My personal favorite is the female Cenobite. I think she looks great. And she just sounds like increasingly the most, I think, terrifying, even more terrifying than Pinhead. Interestingly enough, too, all four Cenobites had speaking roles, but due to the makeup, the voices didn't come through. So basically, they ended up giving most of the lines to Doug Bradley, who ends up becoming the iconic Pinhead because of that reason.
Fascinating, because I was just going to ask, you had mentioned that he isn't known as Pinhead until some of the sequels. And I was literally just going to ask you, I was like, was he decided to be like the leader of this group? Or was that something that like fans reacted to and like, we like this character, more of him, please? Interesting.
So interestingly enough, Butterball is what they call him, sort of the fat Cenobite, I guess I'd call him. He was supposed to be the leader originally in the original script, or well, it's based on the Hellbound Heart, which was written by Clive Barker, and he wrote this specifically to make a movie out of it. He was trying to get into movie making for a while, and he was like, how can I, so he wrote essentially this script to make a movie. They gave him $900,000 to make this movie. They ended up upping it an extra $100,000. So it was $1 million budget to make this movie, which is pretty impressive when you see sort of everything they were able to accomplish. Obviously, they put the money in the right place with the costuming and the Cenobites and all that makeup. But yeah, no, Pinhead was originally never supposed to be sort of the lead, but due to sort of the fan, I think, reaction and whatnot, he ends up becoming one of the most iconic characters in horror, sort of by accident, because the other two Cenobites couldn't speak due to, makeup situations and whatnot, which I find to be really interesting. But I'm kind of all over the place. Let me go back into my thoughts real quick. I like this movie. I think it's well done for the most part. Is there some wonky stuff in here? Of course there is. It's 80s horror, I think, at its finest, though. It's the charm of it all. I think I think not knowing everything about the Cenobites make them even more interesting. Not knowing, okay, like, what is their backstory? Sometimes I think less is more. And they have like just enough sort of screen time here that makes you want more. And I think that definitely helps here. Frank is really interesting. And even like the sort of brother characters, like sort of the back and forth between them. I think we could have used a little more sort of development on Frank's sort of backstory. I would have liked to have seen a little more about like, how did he, like, we see sort of that intro with him getting the lament configuration, but I would have liked to have seen a little more of sort of his obsession with it and how he sort of, why he was chasing it sort of to begin with. I think that could have helped a little bit, but, overall, I think it's rightfully so, a classic horror movie. Steve, I know you get notes.
I got notes up the wazoo. I will say, so you're talking about like the Cenobites less is more. I think my issue is that, and I'm just looking at this one. I'm not thinking of the other ones.
Yeah,
they kind of just wander around, especially near the end, without no real purpose. They want, I think, is it Julia or no? It's Christy. So they want Christy because she opened the box, right? She opened the lemon configuration, and then she makes a deal with them. Well, I can get you Frank, and then they're like, okay, so we'll take Frank in exchange. But they get Frank, and then they immediately back at Christy. But they're just kind of wandering around the house, no rhyme or reason. I don't know. I guess that's my issue, is that it's like they just wanted to make him look cool, not necessarily like give him a lot of substance, which they do eventually get, right? But yeah, in this one, I felt a little confused. But my biggest point of confusion with this whole movie is actually the homeless man. I never really understood what his point was, and the ending is all about whatever he is. I just, even rewatching it, I'm like, what just happened? Like, he becomes a dragon and then he flies away. Like, who is he? Like, it's just a lot of questions with that character. So what did you guys think of that character specifically?
I assumed he was like a Cenobite of some kind, or is he supposed to be Satan? Maybe. I mean, he does turn into that thing, which they only had $700 in their budget left at the end, so that's why that thing looks literally like a Halloween decoration that they just threw out there at the end. But I always assumed he was either supposed to be Satan or like an additional like Cenobite from hell.
Yeah, I was confused by it as well, but I got to tell you, like, knowing this film had $1 million budget, I'm actually like really impressed. And I think that explains a lot as to, we've talked about how we don't really see all of them like in full makeup and everything for, I don't know how many minutes of the film it is, but it's probably like 15 minutes or less. Is that a good guess?
Oh yeah, I think yeah.
And so I'd be curious to know how many days they had to shoot with those characters, because I mean, that's what ups a budget real quickly, right? When you've got intense monster makeup. and you got to do that for 20 plus days. I wouldn't be surprised if they worked for like 4 days or something, on those specific scenes. So really impressive for $1 million, which I know, inflation these days, that's probably more like 6 or 7 million. But I mean, even a $6 million budget today, that would be an impressive thing to create. So there's that. I do want to mention the woman's hair. I feel like was its own character. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe 10% of the budget went to just hair cosmetics for her because that was something else. But I do want to mention before I forget that when it first started, I loved, like, we're just watching the opening credits. I loved the score so
Oh
much.
yeah.
Christopher Young. And it
Hmm.
was one of those things where I'm like, oh, this is a fun score, but like not iconic for me
Yeah.
anyway. Like I didn't hear it and be like, oh God, I've heard that a million times and now I know where it's from. Not like that. But in the moment, I was like, this is a really good horror score. So
Hmm.
definitely worth mentioning.
Agreed. It's a great score and one that isn't talked about. I think enough in sort of the circles. I mean, I have it on vinyl, so I love it. But yeah, another interesting tidbit is Doug Bradley almost never became Pinhead. He had a choice. He had the decision to either play one of the mattress movers, one of the furniture movers at the beginning of the movie, or play this unknown Cenobite character. And he, of course, made the right decision. He said he went back and forth about it, though. I learned this. He talked about this at a con I attended, but he mentioned that he was an up and coming actor, obviously, and he thought maybe it was important that his face, be on screen. And but he ultimately made clearly the right decision, and now he attends cons and has made millions upon millions of dollars playing Pinhead over the God. What are we at, Steve? Do you even know what are we at now? Like eight? Did you do 7 or 8 of these
It's got to
movies?
be, yeah, around
Yeah.
8 at this point.
There
Hmm.
was a recent reboot, right?
There was,
Yeah.
yeah, which we actually did review on this podcast. It was decent, and they had a female play the Pinhead character. Jamie Clayton was the actress's name that played it, and I thought she did a really good job. And it was interesting seeing sort of a female version of Pinhead. Now, the movie, I think we all sort of were that was okay. Like, it was decent. But it was cool. It was better than most of the recent sequels, that have come out. So I thought it was an interesting reboot. I think the fans are always sort of going to be against anyone else playing Pinhead, though. Sort of like only Robert Englund is Freddy, only which us, I think, on this podcast totally disagree with those sort of notions. I think you can bring new actors into those roles and make them their own without sort of boycotts and bans. So, I mean, I'm all for it. And I thought she did a solid job, and I thought she was pretty good. I don't think we'll ever see her again. I don't think they're going to move forward with another version of that Pinhead. But I mean, there's been other actors that have played Pinhead too. Two other actors have played him, Paul Taylor, and I cannot remember the other actor's name, but it's doable. And I think we'll see it more in the future. I don't think that, I mean, with the video game coming out this year, which the fans are massively excited about, and it looks really, really good. I think that's going to bring even more interest to this franchise going forward, too.
Yeah, I completely agree. Look at Pennywise. A lot of
Yeah.
people when they first announced Pennywise was like, "There's no way you can't like redo Pennywise. Tim Curry's perfect." And he came in and did a great Pennywise that was this kind of similar but different. And I think that's what could happen with all these characters. So, and none of us, I remember, none of us like said that Jimmy Clayton did a bad job as Pinhead. The movie itself was just kind of like mid, but yeah, her performance is great. I do have some. We always like to do some like kind of weird. We call them Todd's gripes. Todd, our other host, he likes his gripes. And it's just these little things that have nothing to do with the movie that bother us. One of them that I have, and this is just in general, it's almost a PSA. Maybe I'm on my soapbox with this one. I absolutely find disgusting when people use daddy or mommy in a sexual manner. It is so weird that he's like come to daddy as some kind of sexual come on. I don't get it. It's freaking disgusting. What are we doing here? And it bothers me every time I see it on screen. And I know Frank's supposed to be kind of a weird creep, so I get it from him, but it's something that I hear like too much. I don't get it, people. It's weird.
Steve's kink shaming. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely kink shaming on that particular one. I'm gonna be like fully on. Like, no, that's disgusting.
I think I was okay with it in this movie because he is supposed to be a creep, right? So like I thought it was sort of like a gross, like it made him even more sort of gross to me. Like especially it's his niece, like right? Like it's
it's
really
his niece.
fucking
Now
weird.
I would have understood it more later in the film when he transforms into her
Yeah.
dad, which is another thing I'm kind of like not a big fan of, to be honest. I don't like that he takes over the dad kind of face and body.
I kind of like that. I thought it
Really,
was cool.
I wasn't a fan, but that would have made more sense. But he does it while he's still like kind of Frank, so it was
Mhm.
weird.
I think it's funny how you mentioned how at some point they clothe him, even though he's still forming into a human, especially since at the beginning, don't we see him nude?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we
yeah.
totally see him like as human form nude.
I
And
assume that was
then
a
when he's-
budget thing. I think
Yeah.
they probably couldn't afford like the full
Okay,
body.
so
suit
so
guy, you know
why
what
a
I mean?
white shirt? Like he's full of blood. Like don't wear a
Oh,
white
the
shirt.
white looks cool because the blood's kind of you
Yeah.
can see the blood sort of going through it, right? So it's like a way to kind of make it look cool.
Here's a weird thing that bothered me. At one point, when he's still like gross and gooey and wet and all that crap, he reaches out and touches someone's shoulder. I can't remember who. And I'm like, oh God, her clothes are gonna get gross. And then like he pulls his hand away, and, like there's nothing there. I was like, I'm sorry, you're like dripping in goo, and you left no mark on this woman. That was a one little weird thing that stood out to me.
Speaking of weird things, 6 times in this movie, and I counted 6 times, does someone put their finger in someone else's mouth?
Yeah.
It's
It's a very horny movie.
where it's
Yeah,
his
Steve doesn't
gross-
like kinks. Steve
Well,
clearly doesn't like kinks.
it's like gooey and slimy, and he puts. Oh my god, I friggin' like wanted to puke seeing that. And I watch horror all the time, and that's where I draw the line. Is
I mean, that's just Barker, I think, in
Yeah.
general. Like most of his work is very like sexual, like in sort of in that sort of realm. So it's not surprising coming from him.
And my last this is an '80s horror gripe because a lot of movies use this effect, and I don't know why. What is it with '80s movies and the bloody CGI lightning? They use it in so many movies. It looks ridiculous. It never ever looks good. Maybe in Ghostbusters it look good. Outside of Ghostbusters, it does not look good at all. Lose it. Like I don't get it.
So
it's
yeah,
cheesy.
there's actually a whole thing about that
Is there
lightning
really?
at the end. Yeah, they were completely out of money, like totally out of money. So basically, Clive Barker and the VFX guy spent a weekend like creating that. They got completely drunk, shit faced, the two of them together, and sort of just did it with literally no money. Like. So that's why it looks so bad. And, you know, obviously fans have talked about that for years. Clive Barker's actually defended it and said he thinks it looks fine. But I don't think it, after rewatching it this time around, I was like, man, that looks really bad. They could have did something else, but I mean, that's, you know, the limitations when you find out, you know, I mean, me and Steve know it best, you know, with $1,000 budgets for each of our shorts, man, it's sometimes you just have to deal with it and make something look what you can with it.
Yeah, that's basically all the like little notes I had.
Those-
Yeah, as far as like, I mean,
What'd you think about Christy? Good heroine?
Christy? So that's the daughter, right?
The daughter, yeah. She becomes sort of our final girl heroine here.
She really doesn't do much for the first like half of the film. You know, she only comes in later. I don't know. There's something like I feel like Julia should have been more. You know, she gets dispatched pretty quickly. Now that's probably by design because it shows that as much as he says she's important to him, she really isn't.
No, yeah.
Which is weird because there's that whole weird, really odd scene where she's about to have sex with her husband, and Frank is in the closet and slowly comes out, and then like slices a rat for whatever reason, and then like goes back into the closet. It's cool looking, even though I don't love the animal stuff, but it just felt weird. It felt like a weird scene.
Yeah, it was a very weird scene, right? And like, why does she, like, it's weird, right? Because she seems to be in love with Frank. So why does she care if he's gonna kill the husband? Like she seems to not give a fuck about him clearly, but I guess she at least she's killing these other guys, but apparently she has some conscience apparently about killing her new husband, which he does. She ends up helping him anyway in the end, right? Like so. Yeah, I don't know. That was a weird scene. I agree.
Is there any explanation as to, I mean, this is just suspension of disbelief, I guess, but at any point in any of the sequels, do they explain why, like, blood in other bodies, like, reinvigorates this dead body? Like, is there any explanation, or is
These
it?
movies change like so much like after this. The focus really does become on sort of Pinhead and the Cenobites like massively. You know, Pinhead even goes to space at one point. There's one about there's yeah, the series gets very weird. There's even like a weird computer one. Is that the space one too, or is that a different one? I can't remember.
I think it's the
There's so
space
many
one.
of
It's
them.
the same one.
Yeah.
It's like 4 or 5. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I would say they get. I'd say the first two are probably the best. I think two is actually maybe even better than one, because there's a lot more sort of lore behind
Yeah,
everything.
it's like one with
Yeah.
money, you know,
Yeah,
like
basically.
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely improves over one, but yeah. Oh, and then of course the iconic, Frank death scene at the end. We can't not mention that. I'll never forget that scene because I found that scene scared the shit out of me as a kid, especially with the Jesus wept line, which wasn't in the original script actually. Andrew Robinson, the actor, improvised that line. It was actually supposed to be "fuck off" was supposed to be the original line, but he thought the Jesus wept line, which is a Bible verse, he thought it was more impactful, and they decided to go with that and I think it was the right choice. I don't think "fuck off" has. I think the Jesus wept is way creepier and just sort of fits with that sort of whole like hellscape thing and whatnot. But man, do the hooks going into the body look good? No, they look honestly quite terrible. But man, that fucking effect with all the hooks pulling at his face is awesome.
I knew that scene, I will say, before
Yeah.
seeing this movie, because there was a DVD that came out probably in the early 2000s called Boogeyman.
Boogeyman, yes.
Boogeyman, yeah. And it was
Yep.
just clips from horror movies of
Mhm.
iconic scenes. And this was on there. So funny enough, when I saw, the actor at the beginning of the film, I was like, I know exactly how his life is gonna end. Like I've seen the end of this.
Funny enough, I just picked that VHS up at a con this past weekend, the Boogeyman VHS. So that was a. Do you remember that, Steve? That was like a big
I do.
thing
Yeah,
when
yeah,
that
it's a
came
big-
out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was huge.
I think I have the poster, honestly. I have the DVD of it.
Yeah, it has
and
all the classic slashers on it and everything.
yeah, it's kind of like fun background noise for a Halloween party or something.
Oh, definitely. All right. Well, I think we pretty much. Anything else, Steve? Or
I
should
was
we
going
get
to
into
say the
rating this
one thing I
puppy?
also want to mention before we go to like our final review is the line that goes hardest with this movie for me, and they even used it as the intro to In Search of Darkness. It's like the first thing they say that leads into the documentary is we have such sights to show you. I
yeah,
fucking
iconic.
love that line, and I think that line alone kind of makes Pinhead. You know, it's just it bring I don't know it feel because by saying that line my imagination just opened up about what hell in this universe looks like. Now of course we go to hell a million times in the sequels, but
Yeah.
after this movie it's just like, oh my god, I cannot wait. Like if I was 5 in 87 but so I wasn't looking forward to Hellraiser 2 at the time, but if this movie was like a 2026 film, we went to see it, I would be psyched for a sequel. You know, I would be really, really excited. And I think that line has a lot to do with it. So kudos to that line. It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and look at this guy now. He's Pinhead is an icon. So yeah. All right. Let's get into rating it. Let's start off with our guest, Jeff.
What would I give it? I'd give it probably like a 2.5. It's pretty middle of the road for me. I mean, I didn't hate it. As I said, monster movies are not my genre. I'm more of a paranormal guy. But having said that, he's definitely not my favorite monster. I am a huge exposition person. I like to know backstory, and that's what gets me interested in the character. And I know that the 80s was very much like, no, they're just crazy, and that's what makes them scary. I never bought that. To me, that was just always kind of like lazy writing. So I'd say 2.5. If you're a person who's into practical effects, I would 100% say check out this movie. It's some really great makeup and practical effects. So 2.5.
All right, 2.5. I'll go next. I think nostalgia plays a big factor into this one with me. I mean, I think I saw this movie for the first time when I was, 12 years old or something like that. So I thought it was terrifying at the time. Watching it more with a critical eye this time, I can definitely understand why people wouldn't like it as much. But for me, like just just seeing those Cenobites, on screen even though it's their limited time, it's just so fucking cool. And just like all the stuff with Frank, I find his character to be so interesting, and sort of like Steve said, the sort of reverse fly thing they got going on with him, I was really into. I think I don't love Julia in this. I don't know. There was something sort of off with her, and I agree. Christie's not the best final girl. She gets better in the sequels, though. I will say that. I thought she gets way better, especially in part two. But there's something a little off with her in this one. So I'm gonna give it. I was teetering, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. So I watched it 3 or 4 years ago when we did our top 10 of the 80s episode. I'd rewatched it just to make sure, whether or not it would make my list. I don't think it made it. If it did, it would have been like bottom of that list. But rewatching it now, I was like fully locked in. I enjoyed every minute of this movie. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. The practical effects just really, it might be because I've been doing practical effects for our movie lately. I the same day I did like this shot, basically the last shot for the movie before I locked it in, and I just appreciate it more now than I guess I did before. So 4 out of 5. I really like this movie, and I'd pop it in again tonight if I won't, but I would, if I could.
Yeah,
so.
Same. Yeah, I'd watch it again, this year. Honestly, when was the last time you had seen it, Steve?
When we did our top of the 80 episodes.
Oh, okay, so a couple years ago.
But I'm like, I think I might go through the whole thing. It's one of those that I might just.
It definitely made me want to revisit the franchise. Does this make you want to watch the sequels at all, Jeff? Or are you like, one and done? I'm good.
Did the film make me want to? No. Did this conversation? Kind of.
Okay.
Just because you say it changes a lot. So I would kind of like to see how it changes and get more of that backstory. So yeah, I would not say if I saw the film at theaters, I'd be like, gotta go to the sequel.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to know what it becomes. And like I said, he is iconic. I mean, the thing that really might get me to watch more is if Halloween Horror Nights ever did it, I'd kind of be more curious to know. Because I mean, visually, it's a pretty cool character. I can remember as a kid I used to go to Planet Hollywood wherever the heck I went because I was so obsessed with movies and showbiz. And whenever I was on vacation, I'd find a Planet Hollywood. And I remember as I was at one of them and they had a pinhead, behind glass. And I was like, that's so cool. And yeah, so fun times.
Yeah, his name actually becomes Hell Priest in the sequels. Well, that's what Clive Barker likes to call him anyway. He actually hates the name Pinhead. He despises it. He doesn't think it's dignified enough because he considers the Cenobites to be like very dignified.
But he calls one Butterball.
I think those are honestly. I think all those names are sort of nicknames
Unofficial.
that were given. Yeah, but he considers the Cenobites to be sort of high class, and he doesn't like the name Pinhead, so Hell Priest is the name he prefers. And what do our friends over at Letterboxd have to say about this one? Currently sitting at a 3.5 average over on Letterboxd, 3.5 out of 5. Pretty solid average for this one. Have you ever watched anything else from Clive Barker, Jeff? Or was this your first?
Start listing off
Clive Barker?
Some titles.
Well, Hellraiser, of course. He also did Nightbreed, Candyman.
Oh gosh, did I see the original Candyman? I saw the remake. I'm not sure I saw the original, to be honest. I know the name.
That's
Clive
another
Barker.
one you should definitely. He's definitely more known for his novels. Books of blood and stuff like that. He's a very accomplished horror author. So yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out Candyman. I think that's probably his best.
Okay,
I would agree.
Out of all the movies he's done. So yeah, that one definitely check out.
Also, never did Halloween Horror Nights, so maybe Clive Barker has like beef against Halloween Horror Nights. So
maybe, who knows?
Candyman got pretty big, and it came back 3 years ago, and Nia DaCosta did it. So
that would be another great.
They could have done it
there.
there.
Yeah,
or do both.
Awesome.
Do a Clive Barker house.
Clive Barker house. Yeah.
Anyway,
they have options.
Yeah, they do.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode. Once again, thank you so much to Jeff DePaoli for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Jeff, where can people, find information on your podcast, you in general? Everything.
I'm going to listen, I don't want to overwhelm people with too much info, so I'm just going to direct everybody to wickednewengland.info.
Love it.
Trust me, once you're following that, you'll see more from me. And, search that Halloween podcast if you want to find that out. And I've had a bunch of great celebrity guests and people who work in the horror and Halloween industry there. The format of that is that's a podcast that comes around every October. And some years it's 31 episodes in 31 days.
Oh, nice.
Some years it's 13 episodes. It kind of depends on my theme and stuff, but a lot of times I'm very whatever I cover, it's always Halloween specific. So I know a lot of people think, oh, horror, Halloween. My whole thing is nope. If we're talking about movies, it needs to take place on Halloween or be about Halloween. So I'm very much in that niche, but we have a lot of fun with it. And I've had some pretty incredible guests like Devin Sawa and Don Mancini, and just great people. So yeah, check that out if you want. Everything Wicked New England is at wickednewengland.info. Also want to thank my sponsors for the event, which is Witch City Walking Tours and Witch City Broom Company, both of which will be at the event, and they do great work in Salem as well. So thank you to them. And thank you to you too.
You got it. So don't forget, folks, once again, April 19th is Wicked New England, a celebration of halfway to Halloween. It's a great time. I'll be there. Jeff will be there. Sam, of course, you guys all know her. Sam from Halloween Happy will also be there vending. So come out and hang out with all of us. It's going to be awesome. Old Town Hall in Salem, Massachusetts, April 19th. Steve, what are we covering next week?
Well, I'm excited, Joe. So we are covering my most anticipated horror film of 2026. At least that's what I said in the top 10 episode that we did last year. And that is Ready or Not 2. Ready or Not was, I think it ended up being second favorite of whatever year that came out. But this one just looks like a lot of fun. And they added Catherine Newton, which is one of my favorite actresses going right now. Samara Weaving, always in the top as well. I'm really psyched about this one. I think it could be a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what we're doing. It's coming out in theaters this week. So go check it out and listen to our review next week.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one too. And I found out David Cronenberg is going to be in this one as well. He's playing the dad of one of the, and I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is
and Elijah Wood.
Well. And Elijah Wood. Yeah, great cast. So go and check it out in theaters for next week. Ready or Not 2, which I believe is Here I Come, right? Is sort of the
I hate it. I don't say
tagline
it
for
I hate
it.
Yeah.
A little corny, but it makes
yeah,
sense.
it's like Fast and the Furious type of shit.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up, folks. Don't forget, you can find us on all socials, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads. Just search The Horror Squad Podcast. You can email us anytime, thehorrorsquadpodcast@gmail.com. But of course, the absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord, totally and completely free to join. Movie Club, hosted every single month over there by Steve, as well as a bunch of channels to sift through, talk anything and everything horror and non-horror. Don't forget important dates. April 19th, of course, Wicked New England. We will be there for that, as well as May 16th, the world premiere of our movie, The Final Episode, will be at Cinema Salem in Salem, Massachusetts. We hope you can make it out to that. And also October 1st through the 4th, it's just a bunch of Halloween weekend, also in Salem, Massachusetts. Tickets for the event should be going on sale for that pretty soon. It's just a bunch of Halloween.com for all details regarding that. Also, we got merch, tpublic.com, the Horror Squad podcast. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. You hear this spiel every single episode. You guys know by now. Instagram, everything's pretty much linked over there. Send us an email, whatever. We'll see you next week for Ready or Not 2. See ya.
Bye.